Hey, Tim Sykes here. I hope you're having a good weekend. I just want to go over a few stocks that I'm watching for next week, but don't freak out because the U.S. stock market is closed tomorrow. It's a holiday. It is President's Day. So don't feel like you have to trade on Monday. I'm just making this video so that you're prepared ahead of time. And frankly, I want to upload this video because I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to upload with the stocks that I'm watching. I'm actually in the middle of Asia. And this just happened. I want to share this video with you because this is pretty cool.
So Tim Sykes just made an announcement that he's going to make a $1 million donation to Pop. You didn't see it. No, he's right here. He just made the announcement.
You're on video, Michael. You're on video, Michael.
Calling you right now. He didn't say anything for like 30 seconds. I know it's midnight in New York, but I was like, I have to call him. Yeah. Yeah, he's right here.
And I'm going to give it to you in ones.
Okay. Hold on, he wants to...
So that was us surprising the CEO of Pencils of Promise with a $1 million donation from my charity. And now we're going to build even more schools. So I'm out here in Asia visiting all these schools that we're building. They're in, different different countries and different levels of being completed. But just on Friday, I actually visited a school that just got completed. I'll post the video soon. Over 1,000 kids greeted me. It was one of the craziest experiences of my life. And I'm frankly so fortunate to, teach you guys, but also find a passion in charity that I never expected. If you had told me 10 years ago that I would be teaching and giving millions to charity, I would have been like, you're crazy. But, you live, you learn, you figure out what you love. So I'll post my charity stuff soon, but it's cool to share this stuff with you because, we're changing the charity world. It's kind of like this uptight world where people like give anonymously and they don't talk about it. And then I come in and I'm brash and I show everything. I believe in full transparency. Okay. Some of you guys are like, oh, you don't have to show your stock trades. You don't have to show your track record. I think that's bullshit. And the same thing with charity. Pencils of Promise, I'm going to talk about them until I'm blue in the face. I want to give them exposure. Already, some of you guys who watch my videos and follow me on social media have donated to Pencils of Promise. So I'm proud to share with you basically all the great work that they're doing. They've built now 400 schools worldwide. And so now I'm up to roughly 35 schools between all my projects. But that's what I'm doing out here in Asia. Some of you guys are asking. But I'm still looking at stocks. And there's a lot of stuff moving. So let's talk about that for a second. CNBX is one of the biggest winners. Before I get to that, let me talk about the play that I'm getting so many freaking questions on. That is GSIT. I was buying it in the 640s and 680s. It closed at 699 after hours. It's actually in the low 7s because it got compared to NVDA. Someone said actually that it's NVDA on steroids. So NVDA is arguably one of the best performing stocks of the past few years. GSIT, it's a decent little uptrend, but it's nothing huge. Friday's volume was massive. And in case you guys are wondering how I spotted it, look at all these alerts on stocks to trade. Okay, you guys need to use stocks to trade. It alerts you to these hot stocks. It's so important. I barely have freaking Wi-Fi, and I'm getting alerted to these stocks when they're making multi-day, multi-week, multi-month highs with volume, with news. I already sold once. I bought it in the 630s actually, and I sold frankly because this is scary. When I'm trading with so little Wi-Fi, and yes, I'm going to mention it because as I talk about in my trader checklist guide, which you also should have seen, I really care about my environment. And it goes the same with you guys. If you're at work, if you're at school, if you're trying to trade in the bathroom, if you're trying to trade in between meetings, or if you're trying to trade from the freaking jungles of Asia, you have to play things more cautiously than you would if, let's say, you have the full day free. Your personal schedule matters. And this is why this is one of the key indicators on my SSS, the Sykes sliding scale. But I nailed the breakout here thanks to Stocks to Trade, and I can't thank Stocks to Trade enough for finding this. But when you get this little kind of penny stock being compared to NVDA, I said that's a stretch, okay? Like, I don't believe, like, oh, this is the next NVDA. But when it gets compared to that, and more importantly, when it keeps going, like, I don't care I mean, you can compare any stock to any big company, but this stock just kept going. Okay, so it had a nice uptrend, and then it held near its highs, and now you can see it's here in the low sevens after hours. I mean, this is holding its highs, and this has all of the markings of something that wants to run even more. Now, how far? I don't know, and we're going to dissect this a little bit because a lot of you guys are asking me my process. It's not just about buying any hot stock. There's more to it, and there's a whole, kind of research process that I go through, and a lot of it is based on my own personal history, okay? This really reminds me of these other plays. I just did a chart for Timothy Sykes, a Google search for Timothy Sykes breakouts. And when you have this initial spike, if the news has legs, you can see these penny stocks double or triple within a few days. And it often happens on Fridays. If you've seen my Tim Tactics or Tim Raw DVDs, you know that. And this was a few years ago, PTBI, nice after hours news. Billionaires were investing, and that was a hot pattern back then. And I was buying it. And, I sold way too soon, as I usually do. But the thing doubled over the next day. Now, I don't think GSIT is necessarily going to double. All I want is another 50 cents a share, and I'll explain why. But this is the kind of legs and continuation that you have with these penny stocks. Another similar play is here on You On Demand. This was a few years ago. I was buying it a few times because they announced a Disney deal. And they announced the Disney deal right here, and it did nothing. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is like, this got compared to Netflix. Oh, I ruined the surprise. It got compared to Netflix here. But they announced the Disney deal here, and it did nothing. But then there was a Seeking Alpha article saying YOD is the next Netflix, and the thing doubled. So a big meaningful contract didn't spike it, but a big comparison to a bigger company does. And by studying the past, you're better prepared for the future. Knowing this, and I was frankly fortunate that I had some positions so I could sell into this spike. I wasn't prepared, but I remember the lessons from this. When a small company gets compared to a big one, it can keep going. Now, granted, Seeking Alpha is pretty much dead these days. We do have these kinds of spikes. You On Demand was not the next Netflix. So the comparison is kind of a joke, but it can ignite a big run-up. And you can see here, it started spiking already from like 250 to 3.3 into the close, and then the next day it gapped up and spiked even more. And I think this was a Friday to Monday, similar to this weekend. I'm not 100% sure. I like weekend longs. If you remember, this is on page 61 of my book, An American Hedge Fund. ISO was my first $100,000 profit, and I bought it as it was breaking out on a Friday because they said they were going to be featured on TV over the weekend. And, I locked in my profits in the 20s, and I made over 100 grand as a freshman in college. And then I was trying to get out so quickly because I thought it was going to crash the next day and nearly hit 40. So I underestimate. And if you go and look back, my $70,000 profit from like 2 or 3 years ago on EKSO aboard a yacht while I was filming Below Deck, that was a weekend play, another Seeking Alpha play. So I like these weekend legs kinds of plays. Now, does GSIT really have the legs? That's the question that we're going to dissect right now. So this is what started. I mean, I saw it on Stocks to Trade with the high of day scans, but then I started looking on social media, and people are calling this, an NVDA on steroids. Now, this is an absolute joke to call a $5, $6 stock, an NVDA on steroids when NVDA is a $50+ billion company. But it gets people looking at it, and that is what matters here. Here's another chart. You can see the nice cup and handle on huge volume here on GSIT. So now, you have this breakout. The RSI, if you follow that, is not that overextended yet. You have a nice chart breakout. You have potential legs. GSIT actually had a press release on Friday. And what they're doing is they're presenting, they're talking about their patented associative processing unit. Now, I'm not a technical guy, but long story short, they're talking about their computing technology removes the bottleneck between the processor and memory. So right now, everyone is looking for the fastest processors. And NVDA is the fastest processor. If you know anything about NVIDIA, you can basically look them up. But any article will say they have the best graphic chips. The demands of virtual reality means that it has years of growth ahead of itself. Here's the staggering growth for NVIDIA in 4 charts. You can see it just surging because a lot of these, new technology platforms require very fast processors. So this is why NVIDIA has been spiking so much, because they're basically, a faster growing Intel. And they're actually in like a war of words between Intel, like whose chips are faster. It doesn't matter. I don't care about the specifics. What I care about is that NVIDIA is arguably one of the best stocks, and GSIT was just compared to it, and now GSIT is a breakout. First of all, I was buying it around 640 because that is the multi-week breakout. Okay, this was a little double top right here, around 635, 640-ish. I bought it because I thought that it could keep going. I thought that it could have legs above the breakout. If you're going to buy a stock, you really have to look at what were the recent highs. I would not just buy this randomly at 6 or 670 or 620. I'm looking specifically at the past highs. So that's why I bought it at 640. And also, it was being alerted to me. So it was spiking pretty quickly. Where was it? It was in here. Stocks to trade just closed. Damn it. I don't have good Wi-Fi. But long story short, it was a breakout, okay? And when you see the breakout, it reminds me of plays like this. YOD was breaking out past 330 here, and then it gapped up and kept going. GSIT, the breakout is at 640. The reason why I rebought my position, I already sold my first position for some small gains. Again, as you see, my platforms are closing on me just because of my terrible Wi-Fi. So I play it safe, but I rebought because it was closing high and because it has this strong volume and legs. And they put out this press release. Okay, they're going to talk about this new technology on February 23rd. That's nice. That's not like the biggest thing for me. What matters for me is that this whole setup between the price action, between the catalyst, between the volume, this really reminds me of plays. I mean, really the best play is YOD when this got compared to Netflix. So studying the past helps me be better prepared for these kinds of plays, even when I'm in a terrible, terrible spot to trade. And this is why I get so up, in your grill and on you guys to study the past. I know you don't want to go through all 4,000 of my video lessons. I know you just want to be like, Tim, just give me simple rules. But the more experience you have, the better you'll be. And I know a lot of you guys don't have experience. You don't even remember YOD a few years ago. So you can't go back in time and pretend that you were there, except I have video lessons. If you go back and look through my video lesson library, actually, let me pause this video. I'm going to find this exact video lesson. Hold on. So I just found this video lesson. This is video lesson 1462 through 1465. Some of you guys asked me, why is there 3 video lessons in here? These video lessons are all in 5-minute increments. So this is a 15-minute video. So this is video lesson 1462 through 1465. So if you watch this, if you go back in my video lesson library and you see YOD, okay, and you saw, my profit was, what was it? I made nearly 10 grand on this, and I was buying this for, again, I was buying it for the Disney stuff. So I got a little lucky that, this article came out and I got to sell into strength, and I sold too soon. I sold it into 3s. And if you remember from this chart, it goes to the 5. So coulda, woulda, shoulda made a much bigger deal. Now, this is kind of like my second chance with GSIT. I haven't seen, a small company be compared to something giant like this. And granted, understand that it's not like Seeking Alpha influences stocks anymore. And, I don't know how many people are actually going to pay attention to this. But, if you actually research GSIT and you not talk with them, but you look at like their different reports and their different earnings that they've released, they've been talking about this technology for a very long time. So this was, I mean, a long time for me as a trader, not necessarily a long time in the real world. This was October 27, 2016. So what was this, like 3 months ago? And so, they're talking about like storage, like SRAM and DRAM, but this is the key point. So they obtained Micamona, which was some acquisition to exploit large potential opportunities in big data. And if you do more research, I mean, this is just one quote. You can dig as much as you want. But Micamona and this whole potential faster processing is the key. And most likely, it's going to fail. Okay? Just like YOD, never went anywhere. They were not the next Netflix. But just the fact that they could be, and when it starts spiking with a breakout, with volume, it catches other people's eyes, especially in 2017 so far, and really the last few weeks of 2016. I mean, it doesn't take much for these stocks to run. It's not a low float play, okay? So that's the difference. I know there are some chat rooms out there and they just buy any low float play and they're like, look how smart this is. Look how easy this is. And they just, buy a low float play with like 1 million shares outstanding, and, the stock spikes and they sell within seconds or minutes of telling all their subscribers. This is a little different. This is not a low float play. If I do trade a low float play, usually I'm doing live trading videos these days because I don't want, to trade something that spikes that quickly. By the time I alert it, even the subscribers are confused. So for me, this is not a low float play, GSIT, and that makes me glad. YOD was not a low float play. So GSIT probably will not go gangbusters. Hold on, let me reopen stocks to trade. Let me show you the chart where the potential resistance points may be. So here is GSIT's chart. Obviously, it's a breakout above 640 over 2 years. But let's go back. You got to look at multiple time frames. Here's GSIT over 3 years. Should have some resistance here, call it 720-ish, 715-ish. Let's go back even further. Not that it's necessarily going to be applicable, but it's good to know where there's past resistance so that if there is a true breakout, you can say, wow, no more resistance. So there's going to be resistance in the 740s and 720s. If it gets up there, I'm happy. Remember, I was initially buying this at 640, and because this is not a low flow play, you have to adjust your expectations. And some of you guys are asking me, like, why don't I just buy low flow plays? Because it doesn't create millionaires. Okay, there's a reason why I have more millionaire students than anybody, and it's not because I buy a low flow play and then alert it to all my members like some of these bullshit wannabe teachers do. Okay, I create millionaires because I show you the process by which you can trade. I'm proud that several of you guys saw GSIT before me. And guess what? They're all using stocks to trade. So I'm giving you the method. I'm giving you the tools so that you can do this on your own. It's not about buying low flow plays or alerting. It's about preparation. So I don't know how high this goes. It could very well top at 7. And, I'll deal with that if I have to. Maybe it opens down, but all I know is that the odds are good, the setup is good, the volume is good. It really reminds me of YOD, so I'm going with it. It's not like some penny stock promoter picked it and they're going to be sending out mailer after mailer after mailer. I guess you can make the comparison. Hold up, let me find another chart. I'm not going to say that it's the next DRYS, which went from the single digits all the way up to $100 a share. I mean, that was a short squeeze. And I'm not going to say that it'll be more like BVSN, which went from the single digits to the 20s. This was a few years ago and actually went all the way up to the 50s. Jonathan Levitt and Gerard Adams were promoting this one with their penny stock promotion business. So GSIT is not, a low float play. It's not a penny stock promotion kind of play, but it is a YOD type play. That's my best comparison. And I'm sure there's others right now, but it's almost midnight right now as I'm filming this for me, and my head is kind of foggy. But that's what I do. I try and spot breakouts. I try to spot plays from the past. And if you go and watch this, I'll link this. Where was it? This video from my video lesson library. And you can see, how I made $10,000 last time and I sold way too soon. So I'm going to take that knowledge and I'm going to use it for this one. Am I going to sell too soon? Well, I already had one position in GSIT, which I sold too soon, but I got back on the horse because I remember what YOD can do. And obviously, no two plays are exact, no two markets are exact, but at least I have history with this kind of news and with this kind of pattern. That's what it's all about. So you can go and try and get experience on your own, and it'll take you 2, 3, 5, 10 years. Or you can go back and dig through my video lesson library. And even though it sounds crazy, to have 4,000 plus video lessons, they're only 5 minutes each. Okay, we're talking a little over 300 hours to get all of my experience that I have been working on hard for nearly a decade now inside your brains. And again, it's not an exact science. GSIT might very well fail. I'm not trying to pump it and be like, oh my God, GSIT is the next NVDA. It's going to go to 10. Okay, I'm not like these chat rooms that buy these bullshit low flow plays. I don't care if it succeeds or fails. I trade with a small account in order to teach you these patterns. And maybe when I get back to the US, I'll trade with my bigger account and go bigger. And then, I won't even talk about it. I'll just make live video lessons. But right now, while I'm in Asia, I'm going to show you good setups. I'm going to explain to you how you could have been more prepared, whether you study the past or you use stocks to trade and you get these alerts. Oh, wait, it's not on the yearly stuff. Let me show you. The alerts are on the chart. It's kind of cool. Get on the chart. Maybe my stuff is all broken now. I don't know. It was on the chart before. My Wi-Fi is so bad right now. I don't know what's going on. But I got alerted to this, and I alerted other people, and then, frankly, the stock just impressed me, and it just kept going. And I don't know where it goes, but if it's anything like YOD, it can spike more. The other stock I wanted to talk about that I'm watching is CNBX, and I've hesitated on this. This just keeps going from the ones all the way up to the 4s now. If you look back at a multi-month chart, this thing is a perfect cup and handle. I mean, I didn't even want to chase it at 2-ish because the breakout was here at 177. So this is what can happen with these penny stock breakouts. I would never be chasing it up here at 4. It very well might keep going, but it has gone way past the breakout level. So for me, I like buying around the breakout level. If it tops, so be it. But at least I can, have an understanding of where my risk and where my potential loss is if it does top out. So if GSIT tops out at 640-ish, it's already broken out. But if it had, okay, I'd cut my losses at 630-ish and I'd lose like 5-10 cents a share. With this one, because it's broken out, it's doubled over the breakout, where are you going to buy it? Where are you going to put your risk? Obviously, I know people use trailing stops and mental stops, but for me, I like to set up my trade specifically, especially on buys, right around the breakout point. I like buying that key, predictable level. That's where I'm interested in. Right now, I mean, frankly, I'm surprised that CNBX just keeps going. It looked a few times on Friday like it was going to, I wanted to do 10 days. I bet. It looked a few times on Friday that it was going to top. And, it just kept going. Oh, my God. Slow Wi-Fi. Don't kill me. And this is a choppy chart now. So I would not be chasing CNBX on the buy. Oftentimes, this kind of choppiness is a precursor to dropping. So for me, CNBX is a potential short. But that said, in this market, shorting is very dangerous and scary. This is an OTC stock, so they can go further than you think. And executions are tough. So for me, I prefer buying a play like GSIT that I have a lot of history with, a lot of experience with. I can get in and out easily with my executions. And so that's just me. I think about all this stuff. I don't just think about what is my potential profit, how much money can I make. I think about what is the risk. What's my comfort level? What's my own personal situation? And I encourage you to think about all that stuff too. But when the market opens on Tuesday, CNBX and GSIT, are going to be the top 2 stocks that I'm watching. And remember, the market is closed tomorrow. So if you made it through all 25 minutes of this video lesson, type in the word holiday under this video, HOLIDAY, and enjoy President's Day. But again, use the weekend, use the time off to get better prepared, especially if you don't have a lot of experience. Go dig through my video lesson library, and you'll see a lot of these patterns repeating again and again. It's kind of cool. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the chat room on Tuesday.